So, Brian, why don't you tell me about how you got started in the area? What got you interested in security overall? What led you down this path?
Yeah, look, I think it was a few things. I think one was seeing, unfortunately, successful attacks at both my prior companies as well as with a few of my friends. So, seeing people, we had a number of attacks in my last company, and then, seeing individuals that were, lost a lot of money to these attacks, and just looking and thinking, man, this is an area that with everything happening in AI is only become a bigger and bigger problem, and wanting to see what we could do about it.
So, okay, that makes a lot of sense. What's the problem that you identified that you're now solving?
Yeah, I mean, the big problem is AI powered social engineering. So, having attackers use new tools like large language models where they can pull down tons of OSINT on a target, whether that be a person or an organization or both. And then utilizing things like deepfake voice for real time phone calls, even real time video, SMS, generative AI email in order to run, a sophisticated series of coordinated attacks using AI agents so they can do it at really any scale in order to, cause havoc at a company. And havoc could be financial distress, it could be ransomware, it could be bringing down the operations of the organization. It can be any number of things for some sort of malicious pursuit.
Yeah, with AI continuously getting better and kind of like really, impressing the world in some ways. This is like turning into a huge problem where, I'll give you an example. I was working with a company earlier in the year, and it wasn't unusual for the CEO to call the CFO or send a text and say, "Hey, send some money, towards this company or pay this account or whatever it is," right? It wasn't out of the norm. And, so the CFO got a call, right, from the CEO asking for, I think it was like $40 million dollars or something like that to be sent to some account. It was like a completely new account, but again, it wasn't out of the norm. And so the CFO followed the process, right? Got on a video call. They got on the video call, looks exactly like the CEO, sounds exactly like him, not missing a beat, right? And so they go through all the different steps and they get to the very final part that the CFO was very specifically instructed a few months prior. You have to ask for this passcode. The passcode rotates. This is where you retrieve it. You and him are the only two people in this company that have access to it. There's literally no one else. And if they can't answer that passcode properly, or you think that there's any room for doubt, you don't send the money. And if you do, you're fired. Like plain and simple, you're done. And so like he was very adamant about getting that passcode in, right? And so he was waiting for it. He asked for it and whatnot, and the AI just didn't know how to answer it. And so, like, since it didn't know how to answer it, he just hung up the call and reported it to security. And the next day, we're looking at it. It's like, yeah, that's absolutely an attacker. And then immediately the security org, spun up and said, well, how in the world would we even detect this outside of that passcode? Like, what if he did forget to ask? I mean, we'd be out 40 million, like there's little that we could do. You're expecting a clawback to work at that point when it's, probably already transferred into Bitcoin and someone else, some other country, So it's definitely, it's a gray area. We're going into a place where this thing is only going to get better, right? And our technologies and processes have to adapt to it